The legalization of marijuana is a hot topic as it continues to spread across the country. Both recreational, medical legalization definitely has its effects on the real estate market. I'm located in Colorado. It's been legal in both forms for quite some time, and I want to talk to you about the housing market and how the marijuana and growing marijuana could affect the real estate investment drastically if you're not careful. Just some things to stay tuned for and understand the ramifications, both as a tenant and a home seller, and we'll dive in. Hey everybody, Jeremy Kane, eXp Realty here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, if you could smash that subscribe button, I provide information on the real estate industry, both Denver Metro and nationally, each and every week. For you to enjoy. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let's stay in touch. Would love to connect with you and answer any questions you may have about marijuana and housing or just the real estate industry in general. All right, so let's dive in. It's 4:20 at the time of this recording, so we're going to talk about marijuana. Marijuana is absolutely something that's a hot topic. Everyone has their opinions. Myself, I don't partake, but I know a lot of very successful, awesome people that do. So we're not here to talk about the legalization and the use of marijuana and things of that. We're here to talk about how it affects the housing and your living situation. So let's start first as a renter. Typically in a lease, there is some stipulation about illegal activity or smoking or something about marijuana in there. If the lease is written in the landlord's terms and correctly, did you know that you could get evicted and still have to pay the pre-termination lease fee if you are found to be growing marijuana or breaking the lease in any way? So that's something first to consider. Also, talk more from a homeowner's perspective at what the marijuana growth and cultivating marijuana in a home has its effects there as well. First and foremost, the issue we see most at inspection is, mold spores. It takes a tremendous amount of water, usually in a dark, non-ventilated area, crawl spaces, basements, whatever that may be. And that's a breeding ground for mold. So mold spores, absolutely understand, there's all kinds of different molds. Mold is kind of a hot topic when it comes to inspections. So if there's mold substance or anything like that, it could definitely come up when you go to sell your home. Or, obviously mold is damaging. Some forms of mold is damaging to the house in general, can make people very sick, things of that nature. So that's the kind of obvious one that everyone thinks about. In Colorado, we do have basements. We also have crawl spaces, which tend to be pretty good places to grow marijuana, I guess, especially unfinished, run extension cords and power and things of that nature. That's something to consider both as a renter and obviously as a homeowner. If your tenants are not abiding by the lease, you need to make sure that you're in there. The good news is that marijuana, if it's, grown at a pretty high level, it's pretty easy to tell if you're just present at your properties. Next is insurance issues. A while back, there was a lot of the hash oil and the oil that comes from the THC that was causing explosions and things of that nature. Obviously, marijuana is legal, recreational, and medically to use and to grow at small amounts depending on where you're at in your jurisdiction. But the fact that insurance companies kind of latch onto that, and we're talking a federal level here, and so that's why marijuana is not legal on a federal level. So banking and insurance and things like that kind of take that into account. So you could have insurability problems if you have a claim, and it's found that there's marijuana, and they can prove that it wasn't a natural cause. It was because you're growing marijuana in your house, or because you ran a bunch of power to grow marijuana, or pipes and they burst or whatever. The insurance claim could be denied due to that fact. So that's something to take into consideration for sure, is the insurability. And also as renters, you also have insurability problems there as well. So that's something to consider. The next is your loan terms. The loans, typically there's, federally backed loans by HUD, FHA, VA, USDA, and growing marijuana is a violation of those loan terms because it's an illegal activity federally. So they could call your note. And what's that look like? Hey, you're in violation of the deed of trust. We're calling your entire loan due. I'm not sure about you, but most people don't have $400,000 or $500,000 at this stage and with their home prices, to fork over. That could cause, some people say, yeah, just refinance. Well, that's $5,000 to $10,000 cost. Also with the marijuana recorded and of that nature, it's a known problem. Then, you'd struggle to get a loan to replace the loan that's calling your note due to illegal activity. So that's something that is absolutely a risk, especially for homeowners who aren't in a cash position in that loan, because they do have a say. They do have, that first lien holder position. You do sign a deed of trust that says you won't do anything illegal or dangerous, so on and so forth. So that's the next kind of phase of this property. And then finally, the HOAs can absolutely have an effect and an overriding governing rules and things of that nature, common areas especially, but even out in the open and things like that. So HOAs, they're all different. We don't know anything about, individual HOAs, but that's something that could also come into play if your insurance and your lender, if you get past those things, the HOAs could also come into play. And then obviously home buyers, we can't use pot money per se to get qualified for a loan. There might be some products, some bank statement loans, things of that nature, but to get a conforming loan where you're getting that lowest interest rate, the loan could be affected. And, so those conforming loans are probably out of the picture with pot money because you have to show where the money's coming from, just like the bank's still not insured by the FDIC and things of that nature. So that's kind of a home buyer's perspective and where the pot could come in to play theirs if your finances and employment or your income is distributed through some sort of pot business. There are some hurdles there. So overall, we talk a lot about the use of marijuana and the recreational and medical and things of that nature. One thing also with the medical marijuana patients are not a protected class for the Fair Housing Act. So that's another reason that landlords and homeowners and whatever, you're not a protected class at that, from that fair housing, from the discrimination, because I can hear it now. The discrimination, you're discriminating against pot users and I have medical and this and that. Medical marijuana is not a protected class, or medical marijuana users is not a protected class. So there's that as well. So overall, generally, smoking some pot, whatever you might do, that's probably okay. Obviously the smell and things that are very obvious that we don't even need to talk about on this can have an effect on the housing value. It's also been said that homes, I don't think this is true in Colorado, but homes close to the dispensaries, their values are lower and things of that nature because there's people coming and going and hanging out. That is what it is. That's kind of up to your prerogative. In this market, I don't think, anyone's going to say, oh, that's my perfect house, but it's 3 blocks from a marijuana dispensary. I'm not going to buy it. Maybe, I don't know. But that's kind of that piece. If you're using it for recreation, things of that nature, carrying a small amount, it's just when it gets to this grow operation, and grow operations sometimes go from legal 6 plants to, a whole different ballgame. If you're maxing out your electrical and you're double tapping and running weird water systems and things like that, you just run all kinds of issues. Also, very obvious smelling when you walk into a house that's been a marijuana, grow operation. So overall, that's kind of where it is. I don't think it's the end of the world by any means, but just some things to consider when we're talking about marijuana and housing. You want to protect that real estate investment, especially as a homeowner, and maybe just smoke your pot outside and maybe just grow your pot outside. I don't know how it works, but that's some words to the wise as far as, marijuana and how it's affecting the housing industry. I'm in Colorado again. I do not know what any other state's laws and anything to do with their landlords and tenants and things of that nature. So check your local laws and rules and regulations and HOAs in that case. But in Colorado, these are just some things that we're seeing that may potentially be a problem for you as a homeowner down the road, whether you're purchasing a home that's been a marijuana grow operation or you're selling a home that's been a marijuana grow operation. So Jeremy Kane, please comment below. Would love to chat with you and talk to you about how this growing hot topic is affecting the real estate industry, or find you a house that hasn't been a grow operation any day. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.